The mayor calls this a transition budget. It includes a $2.75 billion spending plan that focuses on infrastructure repairs and public services, with very few cuts to resolve the city's inherited $40 million deficit. City Councilman Kevin Faulkner joins us with his take on the budget. And welcome back.
It's great to be back.
Good to have you here. Filner's general fund spending plan calls for a slight increase, just over 3% from last fiscal year's budget. It includes a little more than $3 million for capital projects like street, water, and sewer repairs, nearly $2 million to operate the downtown library, just over $1.5 million for arts programs, and another $1.3 million for the emergency winter homeless shelter. And he also included a little over $1 million for police recruitment. Now, Kevin, you've been somewhat critical of this plan, saying that this budget repeats mistakes of the past. What do you mean by that?
I have been critical, and particularly when you look at mistakes of the past, what I'm really focusing on is our cities need to continue with our infrastructure and road repair. This budget puts us backward. The council united in a bipartisan fashion several years ago and said we need to make this a priority. The mayor's budget skips a year in terms of our street infrastructure repair that the council was planning on doing, delaying that bond for an entire year until 2014.
Is it just that the $3 million isn't enough for that infrastructure?
We planned on doing an $80 million bond to get caught up because we've said we have to get back to what our neighbors and residents expect the city to deliver. This budget doesn't do that, and that's why I was very disappointed in that. And the other big thing that there's not in this budget that I feel strongly about, and that I know many of my colleagues and particularly the viewers, is the fact that the mayor is not moving forward on competition for city services to cut government waste. That program was supported by voters overwhelmingly several years ago, and yet it's not contained in this year's budget.
Let's talk about the deficit a little bit. The mayor wanted to use $21 million from the SDG&E wildfire settlements to shrink the city's budget deficit, as he said. Do you think that's a reasonable plan?
I don't. And the reason I don't is because, under Mayor Jerry Sanders, to put those dollars in our public liability reserve is because it's vastly underfunded. So we got these dollars in terms of a settlement, one-time monies, and we've been trying as a council to move forward to say we're going to fully fund our reserves. We shouldn't cash those in for ongoing expenses, which is what this budget would do. We've said we needed to fund them and fully fund them. And so that's where I think we should be doing. There's a lot of ways that we can save dollars without cashing in our city savings accounts.
One of the ways to save dollars, according to the mayor, is he proposed some cuts to his political rival, city attorney Jan Goldsmith, calling for about $1.5 million from the department, which will result in 13 employees, full-time employees, being cut. Do you agree with those cuts?
Well, our city attorney's team does a great job, and I think that proposal, that part of it, was very suspicious. We've been doing a large part to bring in attorney services into the city of San Diego, not relying as much on outside attorneys and contracts trying to save dollars. We got great attorneys that work for us. I don't think you're going to see council support for that.
I was going to say, some people are saying this might be a personal. This is his rival. They've butted heads before.
Well, there's been a lot of back and forth, but I'll let the mayor speak for himself on that one. But I do know the council strongly supports, and I strongly support, the good work of the city attorney's office. I don't think you're going to see that one happen.
Let's jump to the what the mayor called a critical component to a balanced budget, the 5-year pension pay freeze for the city. What does that involve, and do you support that?
Well, the concept of multiple-year deal is a good one, but it's all in terms of what are the terms of the deal. I cannot support salaries that we certainly just can't afford as a city. We've made some tough decisions over the last couple of years in terms of compensation and benefits, and I think we've had to do that to make sure that we pay our employees fairly, but also that we're protecting our neighborhood services and delivering what the taxpayers expect. So we're in negotiations now. That's going to be my driving force, is to make sure that we pay people what we can afford and get the services that we expect.
What portions of this budget would you like to see, or do you support?
Well, always, we have, like I said, we have some great folks. We have some great programs that are working. But what I don't like to see is the reliance on these one-time revenues, and probably the biggest one is the stopping of competitive bidding for city services, because we just scratched the surface on that in the last several years. We're saving millions of dollars, and there's approximately $20 million more in savings that we can do. And this is supported, as I mentioned before, by the voters who want that. The council wants it. Our neighborhoods deserve it. I think we can cut bureaucracy and government waste and plow those savings back into providing services. It's demonstrated that it should work. We shouldn't turn back on that now.
And the City Council has until June 15th to approve or disapprove all or some of this. We are out of time, so City Councilman Kevin Faulkner, thank you so much for this update.
Great to see you, and I'm happy to come back and give an update.